Hello guys, my name is Vivek. In last video, we discussed the difference between server and serverless. From this video, we will be building a backend application with AWS serverless. We will be building a wallpaper serving websites. Let's talk about its overall structure. First, front end. We will be using Bootstrap for that, since our main focus will be on building backend application. Second, a backend part. Backend is made by three applications. First, user, second, authentication, third is wallpapers. In user application, we will be collecting personal data from users. We'll only provide create, retrieve and update feature to users. Users cannot delete their account. Second, authentication. We'll make a sign in sign up process in that. Third, wallpapers. In this, user can view the wallpapers from other artists and upload their own wallpapers to the website. DynamoDB for storing data and API gateway for creating our APIs. Let's start by creating our first Lambda from AWS console. Let's start by going to official website of AWS, aws.amazon.com. Here you can sign in to console. If you don't have AWS account yet, you can create through this button, and if you already have account, then you can use this sign in. As you can see, there are two types of a user that AWS provides us: root user and IAM user. Root user is basically the owner of the account, and IAM users are the users that does not have full authority of this account. We don't have IAM user yet, so we'll be login with the help of a root user. I'll login with the root user, and this is your console home screen. We'll be creating our first Lambda function, so let's click on this, or you can just search the Lambda from this search box also. Lambda. There are no Lambda functions created yet, so create our first Lambda functions from here. Create function. AWS provides us three ways to create our Lambda function. First is to write our function from scratch. Second one by using some blueprint. And third one is using some container image. If you know Docker or Kubernetes, then you should use container image. If you want to start, then you can use some blueprints also. As an example, hello world function for Node.js 14.x. Since we are using Python, so we can search for hello world for Python 3.7. But we are creating our function for our backend application. That's why I'll be creating our Lambda function from scratch. My function name. From this diagram, there are three applications: users, authentication and wallpaper. We'll be first creating our users application. For that, we'll be collecting our some personal data. And for this API, we'll be getting pin code from user and will autofill his country and state and district. For that, I found a public API for finding the city and state and country from pin code. This is for India. Let's call it. As you can see, from this pin code 136118, I got district and state and country. We'll create a wrapper for this API in our Lambda function. So let's do it. Let's give a name to this function. Get city info from pin code. We'll be using Python 3.7 for this. Python 3.7 for this. There are two options for architecture here, x86 and ARM64. I'll explain this in detail in next video. This is permission tab. So in this section we'll be defining the boundaries of our Lambda function. This is done with the help of a IAM and we'll discuss it in next video in detail. For now, let's keep it default. Create a new role with a basic Lambda permission and just create a function. Here's our Lambda function that we have just created. Get city from pin code. Let's make a wrapper for this API. So what we will do, we will go here and I'll be selecting Python request and I'll be copy this code from here and we'll paste it in here. Let's deploy it and test it. So we have to create an event to test this function. Let's name it empty. We'll make it private. You can choose any template, but I'm not giving anything here. Just empty. And save it and test it. As you can see, the same thing came here, same as this API. This was the first API that we make with the help of a AWS Lambda. In the next video, I'll be explaining each and everything from this Lambda page. Thank you.